and then also a different way to do earrings. So there's a lot of equipment that you could acquire, but you don't really need a lot. If you're interested in doing this, you obviously need, and we'll tell you where to get all these things when we finish, but obviously you need clay. But one of the things that is really handy is this, and it's acrylic roller. You could use a rolling pin. I would suspect that for jewelry, a rolling pin, a full size, would be a little awkward, but you could use it. And I think some people maybe use a glass, but I'm not so sure how successful that would be, you know, a drinking glass. So you do need this. You need a flat surface. I've got a cutting board, and on the top of the cutting board, I have parchment paper, the kind that you use for in the oven. And that's particularly handy because when you finish your work, it's going to go in the oven. And that means that you can just walk it over here, put it on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven, and you don't have to transfer it off the paper. So that's particularly handy, not absolute necessity, but handy. And then the other thing that is very helpful to have is a cutter. And I actually have one on order. It's a blade that's like this, and you go like that. Mine hasn't come yet, so I've been using an X-Acto knife. You could probably use a kitchen knife. I wouldn't use a serrated one. The other thing that's handy to have is a poker, not a fireplace poker. But this has a pointed end. It's like an orange stick that you use for manicuring. But what you use this, if you're making earrings and you want a hook or something through it, you need to poke the hole in it before you bake the stuff. And so that's handy for that. And this one has a flat end, which is also helpful if you have used a cutter, a cookie cutter type of thing, to push the piece out if it's very small. So those are really, you know, the only thing that costs any money really is the acrylic roller, and it's about $7 or $8. So that's what you need to get started. So we go to Dodie now, who will presumably
do 101, 101 polymer clay. The basic, easiest way to do this. I'm using today, I'm going to show you what we were coming out with these colors. Can you see that?
Yeah, you won't be able to hear them, Dodie.
What? Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And how I did that was I got 4 different colors of clay because I just picked those colors, the earth tones. There's a caramel white, ecru, and a chocolate brown. And I rolled them out. I warmed it in my hands first. And then once it got soft enough, I put it on my workspace and I rolled it till I got these sticks. Then after I get the sticks, I put them together. And then, just as an easy way to do it, I give them a twist. And then after that, I roll it into a ball, which I've pretty much done here. Now, the more you roll it, the more striated it's going to be. Now, this is not much at all, but here, one I've done here, I've rolled much more. Now, you could just roll this out like so, but I don't think that's interesting enough for me. See, it is pretty though, but I'm going to roll it even more so I get more striations, if that makes any sense to you. Okay, we'll do that again. And another thing you can do to get more striations is you can cut it. Now look at the center. See how much more striated it is?
Yeah.
And then I'll roll it again, pushing that side out. Now I think I'll roll it, but the more you roll it, the more the colors will get together and the more pattern you'll get. So I'm going to stop there just for time's sake. And I'm going to roll this out with my acrylic roller. Now, one I did earlier that I rolled more, you got this effect, and you'll get a different effect on the back than the front So sometimes you can wear the necklace this way or that way. You have a different thing. And depending on the colors you use, here's another one. Here's one including black in it. And you can get into colors doing that. And once you get it, they will go on more about this. But to get it round, you use this cookie cutter thing, or you can use this size shape and push it through, and there you go. So I'm going to just do this one round. Push down, push it out, and there you have your pendant. Now, to make a hole, I put it flat on the table, figure out which side I want the string to go. I'll put it on the dark side. You take your skewer, your bamboo skewer, as what Nancy said, nail manicure thingy, go straight down, circle it around. You don't want it too close, but you don't want it far away. And then go through the other side as well, like that. And there you have it. Now you can use, here's something else. You can do that shape too. Or you can make a pin. By just
Dodie, it's actually better if you put the stuff on your cutting board
there.
as
Okay.
opposed to
Oh, thank
holding
you.
it.
Thank
We
you.
can,
So here's
we
a
can see it
pin.
better.
Yes. Okay. And here's using blues and stuff. So it's up to you what you like. And then you just can put a cord through here, or they'll get into more of that. You can put a jump ring in. And the cords come in different colors. You pick a color that might go with that, brown or this color. And I think that's it for me. Oh, when you use this Fimo clay, you see all these little bars
Again, Dodie, if you put it on the,
like this, the
Right.
bars, you don't have to use the whole package. You just cut one of these spaces and work on that. So you don't have to use that much to get this much. It doesn't require a lot. Can you think of anything else? Marcia?
No, I can.
Oh, my leftover clay I use for my earrings. And where's that necklace? Oh dear. Oh, here it is. Here, the leftover clay that I cut out like this, that I did cut out before, take that, split it up, roll it, and you can get earrings to match the pendant you made. Okay, I think that's it for me.
okay. Does anybody does anybody want to unmute themselves and ask a question? Okay, no? Okay, Marcia? Ooh, how cavalier, Dodie.
Hi, so I just wanted to show you some finished products. These are not mine. These were done by real legitimate artists. But what I wanted to show you, it was interesting to me. They took already done ceramic pieces, and then they used the Fimo clay, actually quite artistically, to decorate it and cover it completely. These both were gifts to me, purchased by those artists. They were among the first to use Fimo clay as an art material. So that is sort of the most complicated in terms of Fimo clay. Now you're going to see the absolutely most simplistic. So you roll out your clay. And this is a set of cookie cutters. Everything is available at the Polymer Clay Superstore online. Feel free to order it. They send it to you. Amazon has pretty much everything. Michael's does, Joann's does. So I got this from Amazon. I have become addicted to the little packages coming every day. So it just gives me something to live for. So these are cookie cutters that are graduated in size. They fit in this neat little container. So I just find it really convenient. And what I like is that I can use the primary shape and then do an insert for a different shape. So I can show you how that looks when it is finished. Right over here. Thank you. Oh, I can't show you because I didn't bring that one, but just to tell you. So actually this is from both of these shapes, one done with rolled and marbleized clay and one done with solid clay. This morning I was going on YouTube and looking at some videos so I would be able to tell you about them. And one woman said you could order basically either red, yellow, and blue, or you could order black and white. You can decorate this clay using paint. You can use pastel chalk. You can use eyeshadow. So you can color it with lots of things. So don't think that you need to order $500 worth of every color in the rainbow. It mixes and you can create your own colors. I am partial to kind of modern shapes. So this one is a collage of those.
Marcia, can you move the other stuff from around it so people can see it, you know, sort of in it, without, yeah. This is one of my favorites from Marcia.
Okay, whoops, that's okay. This was a repetition of a very simple shape. This was clearly marbleized clay. Sometimes the cord is the most unusual part. And these are earrings. So what I wanted to point out on this is another thing that you will need if you are interested in making jewelry. And that is the metal findings. This actually was made from an eye pin and a hook. In other words, the part that goes through your ear is just an eye pin bent. I like the way it lays. And the jump ring. Let me see if I have any.
The jump ring is just the round circle, ladies.
Yes, you would need that, right? Yes, and this too. This is about geometric shapes. And so really, could it be easier? It's about using a cookie cutter. It's about the colorways that you might be interested in. It's about making a synthesis with the shapes. Questions? Oh, just to say, posts just are applied with glue. There's an Eileen Jeweler glue. It holds very well. It binds very quickly and it's very cheap.
Can I interrupt for a minute, Marcia? I've got some here that people can look at. This is the glue that she's talking about.
That's the one.
And I got it in Joann's. It's basically like super glue, but this is for more like craft. And it like super glue, meaning that you don't want to get it all over your fingers.
What did you call, what was the kind of glue, the name?
It's Aleene's, Aleenes. It's as I say, it's readily available, and we can get that information to you guys.
I have a question. When you superimpose one shape on another, Is there anything you do to the Fimo to adhere, to have them adhere better to each other before you bake, before you put them in the oven?
No, actually, they stick to one another before you have baked them. If you had, for example, for reasons, let's say you were doing this a lot and you had tons of shapes lying about and they all were baked. If they were baked already, then in order to have them adhere to one another, you have kind of basically three choices. One would be this Eileen glue, but I think that's really the least desirable. The more desirable would either be liquid Fimo. It comes in a little white bottle and it helps pieces of Fimo adhere one to the other. And there's also something called oven bake polymer glue. And so if I were doing it after they were all dry and baked, as it were, I would use one of those. But mostly, if you do it when it's still in the malleable stage, they bond one to the other and you don't need any glue. Another thing that I'm not sure that either of us has yet mentioned is that in order to bake this in your oven, I would say 20 minutes, 270, 275. So it's a very low bake oven. If you wanted, for example, to put glitter in your clay, you could do that at the point at which you are still working with it. No problem. There's no problem putting it in your oven and it will act on the clay exactly as you would want it to. Questions other? Okay. Anything I left out, Betsy, that I agreed to?
I don't
say?
think so. I don't think
Okay.
so.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
How strong is this once it's baked? Does it really, I mean, does it snap easily or is it pretty strong?
The thinner it is, the more easily it snaps. But basically, it's kind of like pottery, you know. I don't think I'd stomp on it, but for all intents and purposes, it's not gonna break. What I have found is sometimes, especially for post earrings, I like them to be real thin, and sometimes I found that I've made them too thin. And so just as I was getting ready to use them, clink, clink, they broke. So I'm trying to think how to describe the thickness. Maybe an eighth of an inch, maybe. I certainly wouldn't go thinner than that. A quarter of an inch probably is a good safe. Now, I don't know if you could see the difference here, can you? This is, I'd say, a quarter, and this is, I'd say, an eighth.
And I'll show some examples of that too, shortly, of the thickness.
Okay. Questions other?
Marcia,
Yeah, honey.
how did you do this black and white geometric thing? Was that glued? Did you?
No, it wasn't, Anne. I did it when they were still, before they were baked.
Can you hold
And
it down? Can you
I
hold
beg
it
your pardon?
down? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
I-
just stacked it up.
Yeah, Marcia, if you, yeah, get everything else away from it. Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. And I'll show you examples too of this, Anne.
So if you attach them while they are still malleable pre-bake, then they will stick one to the other. What you might want to do is with your fingers, pinch hard at
And
the joint.
And they don't, how easily do they bend something thin and narrow like that? Does it bend easily when
No.
you're working it?
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, it's very easy to work with.
Hmm.
So,
And very, very therapeutic. And the thing I like best about it, because this is really the definition of the crafts I enjoy, there's practically no way to make a mistake.
and
So,
when when COVID is over, we can get together and do this as a group. You know,
yes, it's fun to do with friends.
I would just like to mention that this product has been around for at least 50 years, because when my husband was drafted into the medical corps and we went to Germany, the toy stores had this. And I bought it for my kids, and we used it. We made all kinds of animals and frogs and cats, and I still have some of the pieces. So it is not easily destroyed.
yeah, that's why I was when I was writing the description of this, is I was, I wanted people to know that you could do things besides making, unicorn keychains, that, you can do some fun stuff or silly stuff or sophisticated stuff.
But it's an amazing product. It really is, because the baking is just nothing, and it comes out, as you said. So I have bought since jewelry that has been made by other people, but this looks great.
It's easy. And the other sort of next best thing about it, it's very light. So as a result, if you like, for example, large earrings, and you think to yourself, oh my God, this is going to make the holes come sort of like my breasts, as it were. But no, you can wear really pretty big earrings and feel totally comfortable. They don't pull on your earlobes at all.
Right.
Years ago, when this material was popular the first go round, and of course, I bought it then as well, they said to bake it in a toaster oven. Now they advise against that. And I think the reason is because your toaster oven, the temperature is way hotter. What you want is to bake it, you can bake it for longer on a low temperature rather than for shorter on a high temperature, and it doesn't burn. I've forgotten about it twice, and an hour down the road went, oh my God. And it didn't even change color, so it's very forgiving.
Okay, any more questions for Marcia? Okay, so I forgot after Dodie was doing stuff that I wanted to show you this, because you can if everybody can see that, that's sort of what Dodie just made that we watched her make, although this is obviously blue. And here's an example of it with somebody wearing it. Now, this particular cord also has a few beads on it, so it's a little bit more complicated. But if you look at this, this came from my most recently received J. Jill catalog, and it retails for 49 bucks. So there you go. Okay, so I'm not going to actually make anything. I'm just going to show you some things that is a slightly different technique. I like big pieces of jewelry, what we call statement pieces. And so I basically created all of these individual pieces out of Fimo and then hand built this necklace. If what you can't see, is because I've got it taped, is it's on a silver chain that I already owned that went through the jump rings, these rings that are holding it. But all the rest of it is Fimo. And so, as you can tell, probably from looking at it, obviously I've got a flat piece that I rolled out. And then I have these cookie cutter pieces. And then I have these little wormy things that are, as you can see. And then I have more jump rings holding another piece that was, I had to actually carve this one because I didn't have a cutter like this. And with these other things on it. The smaller pieces, I actually, for example, the circles, I adhered them by just, as Marcia showed, by pushing them down and then baking them with those on. The bigger pieces, the heavier pieces, the black and white check that you're looking at, because that's pretty thick, and also these didn't have enough surface area that I was worried. So those are glued on. I wear this necklace actually quite a bit, and these things have fallen off once or twice, and I've had to re-glue them. But you know, it's basically held up pretty well. So that's another example of something that is a little bit more complex, but a kind of a fun thing to do if you've got an idea in mind. The other thing is if you're interested, we could maybe do another class, or Marcia could do it because she's the one who showed me how to do this. This black and white check thing there's a technique for creating that. And for also creating, it's not just for checks, it's for circles. And actually, as an example of that, I can show you this. I made this morning. You can see it just looks like I don't know, like a circle, a roll of something. And what I did is I took 4 colors and I rolled them out flat. I stacked them on top of each other. I rolled them, and then I sliced them and made these earrings. So this is just sliced. The roll was sliced this way. And these are, you can't, the pattern is overwhelming the shape, but these are star shaped or sort of scallop shaped. You can see that. And then another way that I had done some things is, I like these a lot, actually. I wear them quite a bit. Can you see that? I'm hoping you can see that. I've kind of stuck the earring into a piece of clay. So that's just a flat piece of clay that I rolled out. And then I put little specks, tiny, tiny specks of different colors on it. And then I rolled those specks into it. So it's not really marbleized. That's why you're getting kind of chunks of color. And again, when Marcia was talking about thin, you can see how thin this is. I think you can. Yeah, that's pretty thin. And these lay pretty flat on my ears. I actually initially made some rolls of these, and you can see that how thick this is, the earring. And I don't like the way it lays on my ears. So as Marcia said, thinner is better. These are another example of kind of hand-built earrings, where I took, this has 4 different shapes on it. The square, and then all these, the tiny triangle, a black dot, and just a smush. And there's no glue on this. These were all done in the oven. And that seems to have adhered it. The other thing that might be of interest, Marcia was saying about not using a toaster oven. I was curious, and you know, as she said, 20 minutes at very low temperature. I had this at a low temperature in my toaster oven for like 5 minutes when it started smelling, and it doesn't look. It's probably not able to tell, but it really does have a toasted look. And these are not the colors that I had in mind. This is essentially burned. So that's another thing to think about. And then finally, there is this. This is just an example of, like Marcia's, of earrings with 2 jump rings. And some of these things are, the earring back is glued on. But these are attached by rings. And this is glued on, the wormy thing on the bottom. And finally, I have an 11-year-old granddaughter with pierced ears, and so she's getting neon pink stars, among other things, for Christmas, because that's what she asked for. So anybody have any questions? Because I think, Marcia and Dodie, have we pretty much covered what we wanted to cover today?
I think so. One of the videos I saw this morning talked about how to develop your workspace and suggested a piece of glass, a mirror. What you want is something where the clay is easily removed. So something smooth. Someone had suggested simply taking a piece of cardboard, folding over parchment paper and taping it to the back so it's whatever size you're comfortable working with. You would not be able to put that in your oven since the cardboard probably wouldn't survive, but as a workspace that would survive. Also, the notion of how to store the clay. So when you take a piece from your package, in all probability, you're not going to use it all in one go. Fimo clay it goes a really long way. So what are you going to do with what's left? So they suggest, and I've been using this and it works very well, an airtight baggie, just smush all the air out of the baggie and seal the top. They also talked about if the clay gets too pliable from the heat of your hand, and it's kind of made it like a little almost wet. If it no longer feels like it's offering you enough resistance for your comfort, if you take a piece of just typing paper and put it on the bottom, put the clay in the middle, the filling of the sandwich, and put a piece of typing paper on the top, and then you kind of roll it out using your roller, it will absorb the excess moisture from the clay. Conversely, like my original Fimo clay was like 30 years old. So when I went to revisit it, it was hard as a brick. So I didn't know what to do. So I YouTubed what to do with hard Fimo clay. And of course, there's an answer for everything. So what they said was to use an oil, olive oil, baby oil, any kind of oil. I used olive oil, it worked very well. Rub the olive oil on your hands and then put the clay, hard as a rock though it is, into your hands and just start to kind of play with it. And before you know it, it goes back to its original state of malleability.
Oh, and Marcia, can I add something here? The generic term for this clay is polymer clay. Fimo is a brand name. There's another brand name called Sculpey, and they are often in the same spot in Michael's, for example, or at Joann's. And Robin's daughter, Abby, who's my goddaughter, was a Sculpey, a clay whiz. She preferred Sculpey. So those are the two, I think, good brands. You'll find all sorts of other brands and on Amazon, and the reviews that I have read, some people say it's a little harder to work with. So I think you pay a little bit more for Fimo or Sculpey, but it's probably worth it. Wouldn't you say that, Marcia, or no?
I've used them both and been equally comfortable with both of them. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how much you like to squish. Also, on one of the videos I watched this morning, it said that on the back of the package, but of course you have to know how to interpret it, there are numbers that tell you when this was manufactured. And I guess there's a way to find out what the code means also. What they're suggesting is that you don't want to buy really, really older than heaven clay because it will be hard. Should that happen to you, however, try my olive oil technique.
Okay.
When you,
So-
Marcia, when you use the olive oil afterwards, does it affect any of the sticking properties?
No, because what happens, Anne, is that the oil is simply reabsorbed into the clay. So before you know it, your hands are bone dry and the clay is malleable again.
Okay.
The other thing that, when I watched a video before I ever did anything, somebody was using, they obviously didn't have any tools. They were using a glass for the roller, and they were using bottle tops and things like that instead of the cutters, the cookie type cutters that Marcia and I have. The problem with that, so I started saving bottle tops, and then I realized that they have only one opening, so that makes you can get the shape, yes, but you can't get the clay out. So, but on the other hand,
So I
this is
have
a
a
spice thing, and you could
so I
probably get
have
it out.
a suggestion for that, Betsy. If you put cornstarch into whatever you're using as a mold, it will allow the baked clay to pop out much more readily. I've talked to people that instead of going to the clay section for cutters, they go to the cake decorating section. And so all of those things, people who elaborately decorate cakes, which I assure you is not me, there are wonderful shapes available for people who do fondant tops and whatever all they call those fancy things.
Yeah, I have the same thing that Marcia does, that little round container. And I think I ordered that one online, but for those of you who go to Joann's or used to go to Joann's with some regularity, what I found, and Michael's might be the same, is that, I would pay for something and then walk out with a coupon that was 50% off for my next item. So I would always buy things in dribs and drabs. So
That you are.
another thing that I got on Amazon, this is just like an FYI, Marcia was calling it finishings, and that it's the
Findings.
pieces that you need to make the jewelry. I'm trying to do it so you can see it, but this is a little plastic case with 10 different compartments, and each compartment, some of them have the French hooks for the earrings, some of them have the jump rings, the circular things, and some of these are in silver color, bronze, and gold. But on the other hand, there's also things like this that are just individual packages of these rings that you get. And I have a feeling that a little go a long way. I don't think I will live long enough to use up all these things. And then these are packages of the posts to put on the back of the earrings. This is a big one, you can see, for a larger piece. And then these in here are, I won't bother to take them out, but they're tiny. So depending on the size of your earring, you'd want to use those. So.
Can you say something about how you attach the posts? I mean, you always glue it, or?
Yes, as far as I know, Marcia, have you ever?
Yeah, there is no other way. Somehow the post will not remain permanent. Maybe it's the act of putting it through and taking it off, I'm not sure. But it won't work to just embed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
and I've
needs to
already
be
had
glued.
some of my posts become unglued because again, it's putting earrings on and off. Sometimes you aren't as gentle as you would like to be. What Marcia was talking about with what did you call it, Marcia? An eye pin? I don't know if you can see that. This is an eye pin. Now these, in theory, you just put through the hole, and the thing at the bottom will keep it attached to your item that you made, and then you just bend it and it becomes like a French hook in the earring. So, I mean, that in theory doesn't require anything. And then as the jump ring is also doesn't require anything. I got a couple things. When I bought my roller, I bought one that came in with a set. And these are these little wedges so that, as Marcia was saying, to get something off, you know, you've rolled it on a flat surface and all of a sudden it's a little sticky. So it came with these. The other set that I bought that included some pretty handy objects is these are very helpful. These little pliers, needle nose pliers, and it came with some small tweezers. So those little extra things can be helpful.
And also I made sort of this brilliant discovery one day. I used my egg slicer. So if you wanted to have many pieces that were uniform in size, either because you wanted to put them on another color or for whatever was your reason, your egg slicer will work very well. It will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 uniform slices. Uniform depth.
And Dodie, you have something, is yours literally a pasta maker or is it
But it's a Sculpey pasta maker.
Do you want
a
to?
Sculpey pasta maker? Okay.
Yeah, it's not, it doesn't have all the additions that a regular pasta maker would have. No, it's very inexpensive. I think like $29 or something. And you just are able to monitor or change the width of the clay.
Yeah, and you get a
But you're not
uniform.
doing all that spaghetti cutting, you know, all the other stuff that I have on my other machine. But it's nice to get colors to blend. That's another whole episode. How to use the pasta maker. Wouldn't you say, Marcia?
I would.
You can get a lot of different effects with that by the way you roll different colors together and fold them over and roll them through. You can get a rainbow of different things.
And the only other thing, Dodie, I would ask, or Marcia, whoever's got something there, is the cords. Did you buy
Yes.
cords that already
Yes.
have hook closings
No,
on them?
no,
or
no,
did
no,
you add
no.
your closings?
No. I just bought cords in a package, or I use this leather one to use on some of mine as the cord. And you can just put them through. This is a silky cord. You can just put them through the hole that I made. And there are 2 different ways you can do it. You can just knot it, or you can put 2 through and then loop it together.
Dodie, can you get it closer to
Oh,
the?
sorry.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. So you can knot it differently. And then on this one, I usually start it out by just tying a knot at the back of the neck.
Mm.
Okay. And then I've gotten a little fancier on some, and I've done lobster claw that you can use these pinchy things to put your jump ring on, the jump ring to the lobster claw. And then where's that other one? Oh dear. Here. All right.
So where do you get these?
I got mine at Joann, but you can order the cord in all different colors online at Polymer Superstore, any Amazon-y thing.
Also, when life resumes, the
Yes.
best place in the world to get all of this stuff is the dollar store. I
Uh-huh.
swear by it. And the one in Cortland is the single best one, Real Deals Dollar Store,
Okay.
when life is life again.
Oh, here, wait.
And also, as I mentioned earlier, you know, when we can gather again, you know, we could do this as a group. It would be fun to sit around a big table. Some of you were on the glass painting thing that Marcia and I did, and it was just fun to sit around the table in her basement and we could share, you know.
Yes. Here's another one that's very easy as a connection. they come separately, one with a little hook on it and one with a little ring on it. And you put that lovely glue that Betsy spoke about, and it has a pointy little tip. And you can stick the glue into the hole of the item you're doing and then shove in your cord. And I use the bamboo skewer again. When I'm putting the cord in, I just give it a push so it gets in there and it dries and it's fine. And then you have this very easy necklace here.
Has that held up pretty well, Dodie, when
Oh,
you're gluing?
absolutely. That
Yeah.
glue, I don't think an elephant could put this, it's so good and it dries so quickly.
Yeah,
Just
but
don't get it on your fingers.
again, I had trouble with these two things and one of my things with the glue. So, I mean, I'm hoping I learned a lesson maybe and that put a little more glue on. I
Working
don't know.
beautifully for me.
Yeah, okay,
Beautifully.
good to know.
Yes.
Okay, so does
Or you
anybody
can
have any?
put a jump ring on and then put your cord through.
I'm
know.
curious about that blue item it's sitting on top of the slicer. To your
Slicer.
right, I guess.
Oh, these.
Oh, is that part of the slicer?
No,
no, the
no,
blue-
these are earrings I stuck in.
Does she mean?
Oh, this is the
tip
slicer.
of the slicer?
Oh, I thought that was part, I thought that was part of a pendant, that blue.
No. I
was
made
I was wondering
this
how
as
you
a
made that
pendant,
shape.
and then I had made earrings to match. And these are just stuck in the clay so you could see them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, that was what I was wondering about.
Yes. So as Marcia said, you can't screw up. You will never get the two things to be the same. But the more you work at it and play with it, there's no screwing up. You come up with the most interesting patterns thinking you're such a genius. It's all happenstance.
I think I could do the clay, but I'm not sure about that other little fine stuff of sticking glue and strings and,
Yes, you
Oh, it's
can.
very easy, very easy.
And
well,
Yeah.
you don't
we
know
have to-
my limited fine motor. I have limited fine motor.
Well, I will
That's-
say this glue, one of the things I learned the hard way, and probably